Oh, Jesus, Lord Jesus, please speak through me. Give me the courage and the strength to stand humbly and honestly, openly, vulnerably, and talk to my friends because friends need to hear the truth. Amen. Okay. Now, peace and praise, blessed ones. Thank you for your time. I appreciate y'all listening, but this is to my friends who may not hear this, but it's in the algorithm now. It is in the universe, and I have to get some things off my chest because I don't want to lose my mind. I don't want to cry. I've I have expressed this many times. And the funny thing is I made a post earlier. J. Cole was in VA. Shout out to Cole. Again, I've been listening to the album. And like I said, it gets better every time I listen to it. He was in VA yesterday and nobody called me. I feel a kind of way about that. Because however whoever found out about him being in town, you can never assume that people knows what you think that they probably would know. That's why for me I always say, I don't know if you know this, but da 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 da. But it's not even about that because here's the thing. Again, I don't know J. Cole personally. I saw a clip on Facebook and it looked like Julian was in the back. If you don't know who Julian is, don't even worry about it. I heard, he has a brother look just like him, but Julian was in the back. From my understanding, Cole does have children. He does have a wife. He was riding around, in his old Civic, but it seems like his family wasn't there, right? So this isn't even really necessarily about J. Cole, but here's the thing. I've had my license for 20 years. I've been since I was 20 years old, so close to 20 years. I have been driving with a vehicle just as long. And from living in DC to VA, back to DC, back to VA to DC, back to VA, I have might have had one friend go out of their way for me where it wasn't benefiting them. One friend. And that was on my wedding day. I've had relationships, 20 plus year relationships with people, 15-year relationships with people, 12 like these multi-year relationships with people that I've poured into and it wasn't reciprocated. So here's the thing about relationships. No matter the level of no matter what you pour into the relationship, it should be reciprocated. Because if it's not reciprocated and you notice it, that's a problem. And I'm noticing it because forget about J. Cole. I wanna because that's that I'm being funny, but the thing is this. I thought about this I have mentioned my friends in conversations. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I have defended my friends without their name being attached. I have traveled, visited friends, spent money to spend time with my friends, and not really feeling this reciprocation. Like, I love my people. I love my village. I love the support. I love, you know, when people do pour in. But the thing with me is I'm a simple dude. You can just say, "Hey, I see you. I appreciate you." And that's cool. But here's the thing: if you're not picking up something, if you're not getting money, or if it's not a matter of meeting up and then driving here, not a lot of love isn't felt. And I have reflected on it, talked about it, addressed it, and I realized that I have a lot more weight than my friends. Now remember, we all have families, we all have jobs, we all have other responsibilities. But let's just take it to a sense of prior prior to this. You know, there's a lot of people in my life that I don't have. It's not the same relationship as it used to be, and that's fine. I know, like I said, we have other purposes, other things going on. And that's fine. Maybe this is just me saying I miss my friendships. I miss, my family. I miss when we can kind of come together and stuff like that. I'm not married anymore, so I don't have no obligations to anybody but my son. But the thing is, have you heard my music? Have you heard my podcasts? Have you read my book or supported my book? And I know things, like I said, we get busy, but the thing is this: it's 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, about 30 days in a month, and 365 days in a year. So I don't have to share, or I shouldn't have to share what I have going on for you to know about it. But I do it because I want to make sure that you get it. For me, I've always just been somebody who would really be very caring because, again, I've been the black sheep. I've been a loner. I've been quiet. I've been reserved. I know how it is to not really be acknowledged or recognized or appreciated by people you want to be appreciated too. I'm not famous. I'm not popular. So the thing about it though is this, right? J. Cole was in VA yesterday. I didn't know this until he was probably already gone, right? I mean, I'll be on. I don't. I mean, maybe that's my own fault. But we spend like 3 to 4 hours in church, maybe twice, once a week, listening to sermons, listen to our pastors preach the same thing week by week. You might go online and look at lives and listen to sermons and stuff. Then we have music, people who listens to music. We go to these festivals, we go to these events, we go to dinner maybe once a week. We would spend money and spend time on the things that we care about because we care about them. So it has come to pass for me. I think a lot of times we take our friends for granted. I have done it. And I feel terrible about it, but here's the thing. I've always been reflective and tried to, make up for that. Right. So like I said, I have one friend out of the few that I may have, don't have a lot of friends, but out of the few I may have, one friend who had came out of their way to see me get married. And I didn't even know that she was there. I didn't even know that she was there. Got the invite, but didn't know that she was there until after I was no longer married. I wasn't married that long, but I was married long enough to have known that, she was there. So what does that tell you? That's somebody who cares, who doesn't care about, you know, getting recognition and all that stuff. Because for me, I'm somebody who, like, I want to know, like, I want to make sure you're there, so I can thank you and, show my appreciation. Because, like I said, I don't want people to come down and, waste time. Because to me, I don't know if I would just come down or go visit somebody to see them and not let them know that I'm here, to not try to at least make the best out of it. But again, that's where we can differ, because it's just like go if I go to California to see my cousin, or like if I go to DC to see my friend in DC, I'm gonna at least see one of my family members. I remember when I took my son to Ocean City back in almost 2 years ago, and when we left Ocean City, we made our way to Washington D.C. Like, then I wanted to go see my dad, but I think he was on the way back. But we missed him. But I did go see my grandmother, see my aunts that was there, because it's like I don't travel. I don't make luxury travel trips or leisure trips just to, you know, get away. If there's somebody that I know that's in the area, I'm gonna at least try to make an arrangement to see them, right? So I feel good about that. I felt that was good to know that they came to my wedding. I mean, I didn't know, but it felt good because I had to play the video back. So I go back and I think about certain things. Like I have male friends, I have female friends, and I'm always going out of my way. I don't mind going out of my way because it's like, hey, if I care about you and I love you, and I want to see you. So it's like I have had, you know, buddies of mine, and I've No, I'll make my way there. So yeah, let's talk. Let's rap about it. Let's have a discussion. You know, I've tried to make the most and the best out of it. Try to kill two birds with one stone. Hey, I'm traveling from out of the town. I'm gonna be staying here and stuff. So let me. I'm gonna tell everybody because again, I understand people have other things to do, and I'm just one person, and it's easier for me to go see everybody than them to come to me. But sometimes easy isn't always the best thing. Like I said, like everything costs money, and I don't want to sit here and nitpick, but it's like I have done a lot, at least for me, in my mind, I've done a lot for people that I cared about, and I wish I could do more. You know, I have people that I love and care about that lives out of the state, people that I love and care about that doesn't live in my city. Like I don't like my life right now is just work, sleep, daddy. That's it. I don't do a lot of mingling. Not because I don't want to, but it's like sometimes like maybe the circumstances did. But here's the thing: history lesson. And I mean my good friend who did come to see me had this conversation recently. You can't tell somebody the type of friend that you are to them. Like you don't get like you don't have that luxury to dictate how good of a friend you are to someone. Fine. I get that, I receive that, I accept that. But you're also not going to tell me what I value, what means to me. And I think sometimes it would be rude of me to just tell somebody to, hey, you don't do this for me, I don't rock with you. That's rude. But, when it's your life, you gotta dictate your life. When it's your life and you have a need and you have a desire and you have an expectation and standard of your friends, you should be able to be open and honest with them if y'all are really friends. Y'all don't have to always agree. Like I said, there's been relationships that I've had prolonged for a long time because again, I'm not somebody who would just cut people off. I'm not somebody who would just be like, all right, we ain't friends no more. I'm not somebody who does that. But sometimes you might have to do that. And I'm not saying like, hey, my friends aren't my friends anymore. But what I am saying is for my friends who are listening, is I want more. I need a little bit more acknowledgement. I need a little bit more appreciation because I'm on social media. I see the things that you post. I see the things that you share. And whether you might feel like it's insignificant to you or not, you're then dictating what it is insignificant to everybody else. Because even things that I don't do, like say, I don't smoke, I don't drink. But if there's an event that's you're having that will have that, I'ma share it. I'll be like, all right, yeah, y'all go out here, do this for me, represent it. But again, that's just me. I'm not saying you gotta be me. And maybe that's where my value comes in. I value my village. I appreciate my village for the things that they do, whether it's picking up the phone when I call, whether it's, hey, letting me into their house or whatnot. But, I've feel underappreciated or undervalued when I have something going on, because all of my friends, everybody who know, like, who I esteem as my friends, knows that I do music, knows that I do podcasts. I don't know if they know I have a book out, but the thing is, I can see the I can see the stats. Why aren't you listening to this? Why aren't you hearing this? I mean, you can use it as background noise. I just say, just hear it out. I need feedback. Give me feedback. Give me some engagement, because that is important. And I don't want to be up here crying, whining, or nothing, but it's like, yeah, I got a lot on my mind. I haven't been asleep in a little bit, so maybe I need to get some sleep. But I had to express. Why haven't you listened to my mixtape? That's going to be the name of this episode today. Have you heard my mixtape? I mean, I don't have a mixtape. I mean, I have music, but it's not a mixtape. But we have people who I say, maybe some people are just better friends than the next person. Yeah, of course. And as far as I see and as far as I know, I'm that better friend. Not because I give money away, not because I've done favors, but it's like, hey, I make it an effort to try to, reach out. There's a couple friends I have that I haven't spoken to in a little bit, and maybe that's on me. Maybe because of how I look at the relationship, or it could be on them. But again, I'm all like, my mind is constantly thinking. So like, I'm always thinking about my friends. I'm always thinking about the people that I care about, whether I contact them or not. And like I said, that might be on me. It's just a lot. Maybe I need to see a therapist. Maybe I need to, talk to God about the people that I allow in my life. And it's even the same thing with dating and relationships. Like, for a man to pursue a woman who they're interested in, and they're not giving you any pushback, but they always talk about consistency and pressure, but it's only for people who they like. And you don't have to like everybody that likes you. But the thing about it is, you can't ask for something in particularly, and then when you get it, it's an issue. Example, you can like someone and they can know you like them, and they like you, and y'all are constantly talking. Y'all might meet up, y'all might share some time together, and then after that it's over with. Maybe she didn't wasn't feeling it. Maybe not. And I'm not saying that you even have to always communicate and say, yeah, this ain't gonna work out. But the thing about it is, why do women do that? Why is it fine to talk to someone, have a drink, have an entree, and then it turns into, oh, where you go? Why can't a woman have a soft life without a man? Why can't a man just be masculine without a woman? Because again, we need each other, like I say all the time. If you're dating, and like, one thing about me, chivalry isn't dead, but there's a thing. If I invite you out, I'm gonna take care of it. I'll pay for it. I'm about, like, I believe a man should always pay for the date. But the thing is, like when I hear these narratives, especially on social media, when they say I'm not gonna pay for a meal and you invited me out, and I'm like, well, you can't expect a man to do every single thing. Like if you like a man, if you like somebody, but you're waiting for them to ask you out, and then you want them to pay for the bill and do the tip and everything, and say because they invited you out. Well, of course they invited you out. They're the man. They're the one that's supposed to be pursuing you, right? So of course you wouldn't pay for it. And it's certain things that I might see. And that's why I say, with social media, we have like we can't just bank on that. I mean, like I said, how I feel like social media is reality, but it's at the same time there's certain narratives that are painted as if it is it shouldn't be this way and it should be this way. Women telling men what real men do, men telling women what real women do, and I'm like, nah, a woman can't tell a man what a real man is. Just like a man can't tell a woman what a real woman is because you're not that. I understand you might have a father and he might have treated your mother this way and whatever, but that's his prerogative. But what dictates what a real man is and what a real woman is? Well, for me, I feel like I'm a real man. Real man takes care of his responsibility. Like, hey, he pays his bills that he has. He takes care of his children that he has. And if he is married, emphasis on the married. If he is married, he takes care of his woman. But girlfriend is another thing because when you're in a relationship and you're building, you're not responsible for this woman's hair, nails, feet, wardrobe, car note, electric bill, whatever. But some men do that. It doesn't determine if that person is a real man or not. Just like a woman can be soft. A woman should be soft in my presence or God's presence, whoever's presence. But paying bills when you're independent adult doesn't have anything to do with gender roles. Because you got to think like what type of job do you think people have where they're like, especially in this economy? I mean, we can have more than one stream of income, but if you're working a regular 9 to 5, right? Because you can say this is broke, but if you're getting, let's say you're getting 60, let me say you're getting between 40 to 75,000 a year. That's decent. I think that's a decent amount for the average working person, like I say, because the average person is working living paycheck to paycheck. So you got your rent because rent nowadays is like at least $1,000, $1,200 a month just to rent alone. And then you know how these bully people are. Everybody gotta have a new car, like where they don't got no CD player. So you paying that, and that's probably like maybe 300 to 500 a month. Then you have the insurance, which is like 150, and then you got the electric bill, the water, and let's say if you don't even pay the utilities, that's probably about 2,000 a month just on your car, uh, insurance, and rent. Cause you got your phone bill too. Cause those are four things. Now some people might not have those things. Me, I'm still working on getting my car. I'm still working on trying to get my place again. Cause I've been out there, but I had came back home. God bless my village, like I say. But the thing is, this is I've thought about certain things, and I'm like, man, I do a lot all by myself. when it comes to things that I enjoy doing. Like I said, I love writing. I make time to write. I have the podcast. I do my music. I mean, writing music for me is just simple. It's easy. I can do that. I can knock out 5 songs, maybe even more if I wanted to in less than a day. But that's nothing for someone who's passionate about that. But one thing is like I love my friends, I love my family, I love my village, and I thank God for that. But I think there's certain things that I think about, and I'm like, maybe I'm putting too much into this. Like I pay attention to a lot of things, maybe a lot more things than I need to. Maybe I invest in too many people than I need to. But that's just my heart, man. Like I love pouring in to my friends and my family. I'm not rich right now, and I don't have the billions and millions of dollars that I've always said that I'm gonna have. I mean, one day I will have that, but right now, I'm just another regular 9 to 5 person that's trying to make it work. I mean, I'm not in my 20s anymore, so I mean, hey, like I said, we all have families and responsibilities, but I think it's important that we do a little bit more, pour a little bit more into our friends, because like I said, I have had friends who I call, and sometimes they can be short with me, and I understand it, but it goes back again, the ego in me and the sensitivity in me is like, well, I don't care, we need to talk. We haven't talked in a while with this, but again, that's just probably just me, the little kid in me who missed his friends. I'm not ashamed to say I miss my friends. I'm not ashamed to say that I sometimes feel hurt. And like I said, y'all, blessed ones, y'all are my family. So I can say that. And I do want to give thanks to God for the new people in my life, the new friends in my life. They know who they are. Even the people who are still getting to know me, still trying to find their place in my life as I'm finding the place in mine. But they should know who they are. So I thank God for you if you're listening. You know, I I'll share this. One of my newer friends invited me. Well, I'm not. Well, I guess you can say they invited me. They asked me to, make a trip up to where they are because they was getting together to, eat and stuff. And and I explained to them like, hey, I will soon. But that's that. But here's another thing though, right? Aside, domination 2026 will be happening in a couple months, in a few months, in June. It's usually in June. So from 2021 to now, like I said, this is gonna be my sixth one that's coming this year. I'ma go. I'm still deciding on how many tickets I'm gonna get this year. But I'm gonna invite some people. I'm gonna invite some of my friends who are into that. Like that's another thing. You gotta know your friends. You have to know the type of thing that your friends are into, if you're a good friend. So, but like I said, that's certain things I consider. Like I consider schedule, family, interests, location. So that's one thing. That's something that I consider as a friend. I mean, there might be some other things that I'm missing, but that's just something I consider. And I always try to be conscious of certain things that I might miss or something I may forget. But my thing about it is, if we're friends, if you consider me a friend of yours, act like it. And I've said it, like I said, I've been guilty sometimes of not being, as in touch as I was or before, but all I'm saying is I have given a lot. I invested in a lot of time to try to maintain a friendship. And I hope you're listening because you know who you are. Those who I speak to on a regular know what it is. Those who I don't know what it is. All I'm just asking is, you know, I just want you to listen. I just want you to listen. Give me feedback. Help me out. Maybe you don't have time. Maybe you're not interested. But I mean, make an attempt to. Because, like I said, we can spend 4 hours in church listening to the pastor lie in church, lie on a pulpit, lie in your face while you're smiling, hugging, shaking their hand, kissing them, and you can't listen to me talk about more nonsense for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, however many minutes. You can listen to fake rappers rapping about guns, rapping about drugs, rapping about sex with women, when whether you resonate with their life or not, when it's like you don't know them, but you can't listen to my music for 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. My songs ain't that long. Just take some time to see what I got going on. I have a lot of, not a lot, but I have friends who do music. I have relatives that do music. I have friends who listen to podcasts, relatives who listen to podcasts. I have friends who read books, relatives that read books, but you can't listen to me for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You can't read my 12-page book. It's crazy. But here's the thing. Jesus left Nazareth to preach the gospel. Y'all stay safe, stay productive and positive. I'm out.